This
Happy
conference
Thursday
will now
greetings.
be recorded.
Oh, I'll say it again. Happy Thursday greetings. This is our Mind and Market session on the 17th of September. Back to a traditional time of 2 p.m. Thursday. Great to see the kind of usual suspects of alpha chain traders. I do want to kind of break into a story in a moment, just when I stop sharing the screen. And begin by saying Desmond and I connected a week ago on the back of an alpha chain kind of management team level celebration launch of new initiatives that they're doing, and it was great to actually meet with Desmond in person. And even though we were physically in person in this restaurant, we could still only do an air high five because of the social distance restrictions. It was a very weird but fun reality. And I think we also took a picture together along with Adam and Gavin, and also just the Alpha Chain team. So I just hopefully some of you guys might be able to see that photo as and when it gets released. We all look reasonably presentable after lunch, after dinner, and a few kind of just good banter discussion and insight shares. So didn't want to say anything to you guys ahead of time because I knew it would be a little bit bittersweet, because obviously we'd like to do the same ourselves and connect with each of you. Those of you who are in the UK, but then also those of you who are elsewhere. Desmond, I remember that there was a potential idea about connecting with alpha chain traders at some point, maybe into year end or the New Year's. Is that the case?
Yes, I think the plan is next year to have monthly meetups. Yeah, that's something that's we're sort of working on or in the pipeline.
Okay, so I want to celebrate that potential opportunity for the new year. And my invitation to all of you here, including Desmond, and then of course the rest of you, Rafa, Chris, Callum, Richie, Jonathan, Brandon, Callum, Joseph, Bobby, Patrick, Sammy, and anyone else I've missed out. Maybe those of you who aren't on today's session, but you're watching the replay, please ping Desmond, Adam, and Gavin and say, we would like to connect with the team in person in the new year as part of this new initiative to actually socially connect and kind of just build that trading rapport for the sole purpose of being human beings, in this trading experience, but also in, upping your game and making this kind of part of your A game strategy for the new year. How many people agree with me on that? High five, share some noise. Bobby, I want you to make some noise on this point. You agree, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys wanna cover our tickets, cover our flights, we'll make it happen. You know.
Great point. I think Brandon's kind of drinking his coffee, and he's like, "Yep, you speak up for the Americans."
Right.
Hey, well, look, we might come to you, Bobby. You never know. So, it's a global world there. So either you guys come to us, we come to you. Sammy and Joseph, I think we're happy to also to maybe consider some kind of road trip to Northern Europe or even Malta. Both have attractive, destination characteristics. So who knows? Who knows? I just wanted to put it out there just to kind of keep this real, and also to kind of circle back to Bobby's call out to me on the record for not being as timely in getting back to some of the messages from some of the traders here, including Bobby. And on the record, I've made an official promise to make better that point and write real-time messages to real people as soon as possible. How's that sound, Bobby?
Sounds real good. Yeah. We can't wait to see it all unfold and come together. So
Yeah, look forward to it. Okay, so in the time that we have, I think let's kick off with the pulse check, but then also I want to bring in Patrick, because Patrick, you did some wonderful work last week, right in the moment. You did what I hope all good traders can do, and students here at Alpha Chain Capital. You did a carpe diem. Does everyone know what carpe diem means? Okay, Patrick, you got a smile on your face, so I'm guessing you have an idea. Patrick, carpe diem?
I mean, I think I basically, I would say I depleted my soul in there, right? In the moment, like what I felt like the situation. I mean, I don't know exactly about Carpe Diem, but it's like, it's the moment, live it, express it kind of a deal. So I think, I mean, it's good, to be honest. I feel more relaxed, and also bringing it out, talking it with people, makes it so that it's something, it's something normal that you have to go through, and you have to, succeed as well. I mean, I've been talking with Adam as well in terms of that. Drawdowns are something that traders need to deal with at some point. So what better thing to do, to go through it than at the beginning, so that you really get all those lessons, right? Because I have drawdowns, I have had drawdowns with my personal account, and they have been even a little bit worse, and I have gone through them. So this is no different, and I think that's the mentality that I needed, of people telling me, this is more of a goal and a challenge and an opportunity, rather than you making mistakes and being something negative.
Well done, Patrick, and I was really inspired by that. I mean, I wrote a brief comment on the chat, but really wanted to write a lot more, and so here I am, kind of speaking directly to you in person, at least virtually. Well done, big high five. And just to be clear, carpe diem, I don't expect people to know what it means, because it's Latin, a language that very few people speak. But any of you who speak languages that are rooted in Latin might have a good idea, because of course words have meaning and they have history. Carpe diem means seize the moment. And so Patrick did what I hope we can all do many times as human beings and as traders, and seize the moment, carpe diem. So if you remember, Patrick, I had given assignments to several of the traders here. I do this week on week now, encouraging you all to be accountable for the work that we do together. From time to time, Adam and Gavin will ask me, hey, Ron, what's latest with the mind and market session, and I'll share some brief insights. But often and preferably, I will talk about what's new with you guys, not so much what material I'm sharing with you, but what impact each of you are having. Because for me, the real results are from you. I can facilitate some of the teaching and some of the learning, and I can introduce new material, but ultimately the real result is when you guys decide to make a change, right? So I'm always keen to pulse check, what's Sammy up to with your live account? What's Patrick up to with, your preparation for a live account? And what are the pain points that you're feeling, and why? Jonathan, I think, mentioned, various kind of drawdown sentiment that he was feeling, and how he wanted to bounce back in a better way. Joseph was talking about confidence. Bobby was talking about his tech account, skin in the game, and NASDAQ, and how that was kind of giving him some heat, but also is giving him a much needed initiation in what all of this means in terms of, the market mind mix, and what it feels like to have the market shake out on a live account. Am I speaking fair, Bobby, in terms of the tech kind of story that you were sharing with us?
Oh yeah, for sure. It really, yeah, it's on that same level of the preparation that is needed, and not to get so far ahead of yourself and overconfident. Even if you are up ahead, things switch fast, change quick. So it's a lot of training involved. Yeah, it's a lot of preparation, and it really keeps you on your toes. And the word initiation, it really is. It is about initiation, because it tests your ability real quick. you know. So yeah.
Yeah, and I know initiation wasn't the word that you chose. I'm always careful in choosing words that either you guys choose or either words that I'm trying to introduce to the language, to the vocab of what we're doing. So initiation is a word I'm kind of inviting you to consider, Bobby, because a lot of what we do in the world of change and transformation is about initiation.
Right.
And what I say to people about initiation and about trading is that trading isn't for everyone. I'm gonna begin with a little bit of a downer statement here. So hold on, guys. I mean well, but I mean well by by talking directly and straight to you. Trading is not for everyone, and even those of you who will trade, great traders, learn to do the most important trade, which is not market trade related. Do you know what that trade is? Anyone? What's the most important
Psychological
trade, which
trade.
is not
They're trade mentally. Psycho.
exactly? They
Mhm.
make a mental trade, right? Bobby, you with me on this point? A mental trade. You got to trade your existing personality for another personality. You got to trade your current identity for a new identity. That is the trade. That is the real trade. And so that's why people like Dr. Van Thop, like a leading trading psychologist, someone that I highly respect and have done some basic work with, often says that trading is a metaphor for transformation. Trading is a metaphor for transformation. He takes it one step further and he says people don't trade the markets, they trade their beliefs. People don't trade their markets, they trade their beliefs. So then that just begs the one question, what's your beliefs? At any given moment in time, what is your belief structure based on? What words do you add when you begin a sentence with I am? What structure sentence do you use when you begin with I am? Desmond, let's do a live case study. How would you complete this opening sentence? I am. What would you follow with I am?
In what
I'm
context
putting you
do
on the
you
deep
mean?
end here. I'm putting you on the deep end
Are you
here.
referring
Yeah, I'm
to
keeping
trading
it.
itself?
I'm keeping it wide open. But just to help, in terms of you as a person and in terms of you as a trader, how would you complete that sentence? I am.
I'd say I am disciplined.
Okay, great. That's good enough. High five. Rafa, I am.
I am changing, I'll say.
I am changing. Beautiful. Nothing worse than a static person. so well done for I am changing. Thank you, Rafa. I'm going to give you a high five over the audio. Chris, I am.
I am objective.
I am objective. Very good. Objectivity is critical for trading. Thank you. High five to Chris. Callum, I am.
Which Callum? One or two?
I can just about hear you. The sound's not so clear.
All right. I say I'm focused.
I'm focused. Now, Callum, say the same thing, but with more clarity and more X factor.
I'm focused.
Thank you. You said it with a smile on your face. That counts as well. Well done. Okay. High five, Callum. Okay. Richie, I am.
Yeah, I am better than the day before.
Wonderful. Momentum, progression, better than the day before. And hopefully the week before, the month before, the year before. Hell, why not 5, 10 years before? Great. Good. Jonathan, I am.
I am motivated.
Very good. How motivated? 1 to 10.
Today I'm probably at an 8 because I had a slow morning, but overall
Yeah,
I'm at a 10.
you're an 8. Great. 8 motivations. Very good. Brandon, I am. My man, early morning US riser, holding the cup in your hand. I am.
I am goal driven.
Goal driven. Very good. Goal driven. A man without a goal. It faces turbulence. You know, there's the famous basketball phrase: "We miss 100% of the shots we don't." Brandon, do you want to finish that part?
Take.
Right. Don't be the guy that dribbles the ball and never aims it high somewhere. It's pointless. Dribble, do all of the cool tricks that you like doing in your basketball kind of game of life, but aim. If you don't aim, you will miss 100% of anything that you've ever wanted to do in life, let alone trading. So you know what? You will always get full marks for having a goal and being goal driven. The worst that can happen is you don't hit your mark. That's why I always tell people, especially Brandon saying that you're goal driven, be really careful with your monetary goals and your kind of trading metrics goals. Yes, you obviously have to hit some kind of target as a trader in terms of how much money you want to produce, in 1 year, in 5 years, or even from week to week, month to month. But the most important target is the inside out target. The most important trade is your identity trade. Who are you trading the current identity for in exchange for the new one? When you do the inside out change, you will create meaningful goal targets. You really will. Yeah. Study the best of any discipline that you look up to, including trading, and you will find that it's the identity trade that has actually led to that person having the exceptional results. I used to often say to people, which choice would you prefer? It's the $1 million choice. You ready for this question? You make $1 million and you lose it. You make $1 million and you lose it. Versus someone gives you $1 million and you lose it. Which option would you prefer? Option 1 or option 2? You make the million, you learn how to make the million through whatever process you follow, and you lose it. You get given $1 million and you lose it. Which is the lesser of the two evils and will have more impact on you? Who says number 1?
I think everyone
Okay.
will agree with that.
Everyone, Richie, are you number 1 or number 2? You're thinking about it. I see. You're number 2. Oh, Callum, number 1 or 2? 1. Okay. You know what? I'm going to go for the non-conventional response. Richie, why did you say number 2?
Losing someone else's money, probably. More of an impact.
Hey, it's nothing wrong with actually putting good money to work, whether it's your money or someone else's money. So I actually relate to anyone who says option 2. And in a way, yes, if it's someone else's money, to an extent, it's not your money. You're not losing your own money. But then, what are the risks of losing someone else's money in terms of the learning curve?
Yeah, it's more value, I guess. If you've done it yourself, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know what I'm saying sounds abstract and happy-go-lucky abstract stuff, but then the reality is, guess what? Do you know the percentage of lottery winners that lose the money within a year or so of winning the lottery?
Pretty high, is it?
Very high. And I used to ask myself the question, why is that? Someone's literally won $1 million. Literally, they bought a ticket, they won $1 million, and they lost it in a record-breaking time. And there are some books written on this. If you look up $1 Million Mind, book called $1 Million Mind, his opening chapter is all about this. Why do lottery winners lose their million or so in such a short space of time? And it's because they haven't done the trade. They haven't traded their current identity for that $1 million identity. So the moment they get the million, they're managing that million with the wrong identity. It's a mismatch, right? This is the biggest myth. People think that to be a successful trader, you need to be given the money. There are a lot of traders that get given money and burn it. They blow the account. You got to ask yourself the question, why? And that's why I'm really happy, for example, the Alpha Chain Capital give you a set criteria. You need to pass criteria X, Y, Z, and just generally trading colleges, across the world that do live accounts, do it once you've actually proven to yourself and to them that you can complete a certain criteria. But whether it's a trading college or whether it's yourself, I can tell you from my own experience that it really does make a difference when you make the identity trade first. And ultimately, if you're given the choice between million pounds that you've made yourself and learn how to do it the hard way versus being given it, look, whichever one comes to you first, amen. Whichever way you guys make the money, I salute you, I celebrate it, and I wish you all the best. But in my mind, having studying the successful patterns of successful people, including traders, it's those that have gone through the work in the smartest way, those that have gone through the work in a smart way and know how to actually walk that walk and be in that journey, they're the ones that excel sustainably. I'm not talking about get rich quick. I'm talking about longevity, long-term sustainable success, right? Cool. Okay. Now let's complete this I am game that I just literally spur of the moment decided to start. Callum, actually wait, there are two Callums. Callum Dronefeld, we just spoke. Callum, the last Callum on my screen. Hi there. What is your I am statement?
Well, mine is from a film. Can I use that one?
Yeah, please. You feel free to borrow Hollywood lines, boxing lines, song lines, whatever inspires you.
It's from the film Judge Dredd. I am the law.
I am the law. Whoa, yeah. That sounds powerful. Now, you got to add some context to that.
Everything stops at the end of the day with yourself, and like you say, that's where the trade-off is. That's where, as you were stating earlier, you want that $1 million outlook, and you want that to be sustainable over time. And in effect, if you're the law, then you should be able to almost take that concept and work it, judge, jury, and executioner. If you see what I'm saying.
I love that, Callum. I wasn't exactly clear when you said I am law, and I haven't watched the movie, so maybe that's my challenge. I'll look to add it to my Netflix account.
Yeah.
That I don't use, by the way. But hey, but Callum, great point. I am law, and this idea of accountability and responsibility, and I would say maybe law of universal law, right? Just to kind of put it out there, universal law, right? Nature's law. There is a law out there. There is an order and law of things in life, and definitely in markets. And look, the worst thing that we can ever do as traders is play the blame game and say, well, you know what, the trade didn't work out because my account didn't do well because and look, hey, it might be because of an external reason. It might be, but then here's the point. We always have a choice how to react to whatever challenge happens in our life or trading experience. We always have a choice. There's a famous psychologist who went through the craziness of concentration camp, type of stuff during World War II. His name is Viktor Franklin. Look him up. He's written some really powerful stuff. If you really wanted to do some deep soul work, take a look at his work. And he says, we are in a way jailed by our biological stimuli. it is what it is. It's the matrix. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, your biology controls your body and your brain. But what he says is the response to the stimuli is our choice. So whatever happens to the brain, even under torturous, extreme situations, how we respond to it is our human right. It's our human choice. This is the guy talking about extreme, challenging and tragic human experiences. But as a psychologist, he's trying to teach people about empowerment. And it goes back to Callum's point about law, right? Law of responsibility, law of accountability, law of nature, law of the universe, and law of Viktor Franklin, where he's saying, the worst experience can hit you hard like it did some people in World War years. And you might have no kind of, ability to do anything about it. But ultimately, what you can always do is respond to the situation in a specific way. Joseph, you gave a beautiful example last week. Do you want to quickly give a high level? Old age kind of pension lady, late 80s, that clearly has challenges galore. And yet, somehow, some way, she has the X factor. Joseph, can you remind us? Because not everyone heard your story last week. So we have some new faces here this week.
Yes, of course. So 2 weeks ago, Ron asked me to find a story which would help motivate me and make me more comfortable with my own trades. And I found the story of this old woman in Germany. She started trading in her early 80s. And prior to that, she was sort of really put down by her husband and thought that she wasn't good enough to make her own money. And anyway, one day he passed away, and she was left with 1,000 shares of coming from her husband of the company where he worked in. And she had two options: either keeping these shares idle and not making use of them, or else trading them. And she decided to take the most difficult and probably the option which not many people would take, and she decided to start trading at a very, very old age. And she made over $500,000 in less than 8 years, and she's still trading until this very day, and she's known around the world as the $1 Million Granny. So yeah, this inspired me because, as I said last week, this woman had like literally no experience, no education, no external help, like from professionals like I am getting, like we're all getting, and she still managed to sort of put in the work, and yeah, she made the money. And that is something that not only motivated me but made me realize, listen, I have no excuse whatsoever to tell myself that I'm not good enough or that I am not capable of achieving what I really want to achieve. So if I really want to become a good trader and a successful trader, I have every resource possible to get there. So yeah, that was the sort of moral of the story. That was what I took from it.
Thank you, Joseph. What a beautiful share. And if I can just ask you, on the back of that repeat story share, what is your I am statement, Joseph?
So my I am statement is I am evolving.
I'm evolving.
That's what I think. Yes.
What was it you said last week that would also fit within an I am statement when you shared that story last week for the first time?
Sort of like I am in the position that like I literally have everything at my disposal, something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I remember the word inspired, and then you also mentioned the kick up the backside. I famously took off my shoe and tried to throw it at the camera. to metaphorically remind you of what you were saying to yourself. You know how the boxers kind of have the boxing gloves on the door? You can have two shoes on the door as a
Exactly.
reminder to you that kick up the backside, that the $1 million granny is a millionaire, or just being successful no matter how much money she made. And interestingly, Joseph, I told that story last week at the Alpha Chain dinner celebration with team and management, and people's faces froze. It was just this pin drop moment. Desmond, do you remember? I asked Desmond to tell the story. Desmond, do you remember this story? If you could just switch on the mic for a moment, what was the reaction?
Yeah, I think everyone was pretty shocked, to be honest. Yeah.
It was this polarization between shock, disbelief, and inspiration. But the overriding emotion was, guess which, Joseph?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
So when we shared the story last week at the
Yes.
Alpha Chain event, guess what was the overriding emotion from the crowd at the table? Shock, disbelief, or inspiration?
I think inspiration. I think.
Do you want the truth?
Yeah.
Shock and disbelief.
All right. All right.
We had like a mixture of management and a mixture of team members kind of looking, saying, "Are you sure? Is that true? How can we do some deeper research on this granny?" So, Joseph,
I hope it's true.
I believe you, but we need to get this granny online and get her doing a session or two with us because clearly she has so much to share, and not just her, so many people like her, and not just in trading but in other walks of life. I used to attend Tony Robbins events and hear Tony Robbins share unbelievable stories about heroes around the world that are just breaking people's belief systems. And there were like 10,000 people in the audience back when we could be an audience together. And I was there in the O2 Arena here in the UK. 10,000 people were inspired and shocked at the same time when they were hearing the stories of these hero people. And it included people in their 90 years age doing triathlons. People who were semi-paralyzed, somehow, some way being able to walk again. I don't know. I mean, it's miraculous in some way, but it goes back to Callum's point about I am law. I love that statement, Callum. So it's the power of intention. It's the power of taking responsibility, being accountable, realizing the law of nature, the law of the universe. This stuff works, and it goes back to the lottery million, win. And I just hear some of you saying that had you won the million, yes, or you were trading someone else's million, managing the risk would be an issue, partly because it's someone else's money. Maybe the value factor wouldn't be there, but ultimately you would still need to do the work to become the $1 million trader, right? Whether it's the granny or someone else, the point is the work still needs to be done. There's no shortcut. Okay, so Joseph's just given his I am statement. I am evolving. Bobby, give me a big I am.
Yeah, I would say I am adapting. So that's the biggest one. I am adapting to the ecosystem all around me. Sometimes you get thrown in the jungle, so you have to hang with the lions, So I'm adapting. Hmm.
Okay, great. I am adapting, and I like the idea of the ecosystem. One of my first mentors in the industry, called Mr. David Fuller, actually described the financial markets as an ecosystem. That was his thing. He framed up the whole headline description of behavioral technical analysis. That was his thing. He was a behavioral finance guy before behavioral finance became a subject. And he often spoke about the market being driven by the crowd psychology, crash psychology being driven by emotions, but ultimately, what does all of that mean? We have innate animal instincts that drive us to make decisions, the subconscious mind, right? That with stimuli that is triggered, that is what ultimately, you know, our belief systems, our values. People don't trade the markets, they trade their beliefs. Trading is a metaphor for transformation. All of this stuff is interconnected, right? It's just variations of the same theme. But going back to the jungle example and the ecosystem, it is a jungle. Life and trading is one big jungle. And to survive in that jungle, by the way, our brain is programmed for survival. This is one big ancient survival computer. The biggest issue, Bobby, with this survival computer, guess what?
It's still on Windows. It's still on Windows 95.
It's on a far older program, Bobby. This is
Mm-hmm.
an ancient mind in a modern world. It's the biggest paradox of our lifetime and lifetimes to come.
Yeah, that's why you have to jump on the Tesla Neuralink and get the chip so you could, be able to navigate and process at, multi functions and multi levels. I mean, that's the adaptability, man, is huge, So someone has to give it a shot. So I'll recruit you. I'll recruit you, Ron, to be the
You know
first go ahead,
Just go back to the matrix, just give me the microchip, download the program, and then I'll start flying the helicopter all of a sudden.
Right.
You know what I mean? It'll just happen just like that.
Just
But
like
hey,
that. Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan. I mean, as much as I support technological evolution, I'm a bigger fan of human innovation and what we can do as a species when we really put our mind to it. So I always say, people say, hey, man versus machine, who wins out? You know my responses to that? When did man actually start the race?
Right.
Man, yes, but when did man actually start the race? We still only use under 10% of our brain's capacity.
Yeah, more like 5%,
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Who watched that movie Lucy? Anyone watch it? Right? Okay, hands up. A, she's a beautiful actress. I'm not going to go into that now. It's the wrong session, wrong subject. but more than that, the whole idea behind it is that, we can, as a human race, we're only using a small percentage of our brain. And wow, what would happen if we could use a lot more? So in a way, trading is the metaphor for transformation, where we kind of become that male version of Lucy, and start to put the work to action. And I know, look, some of this stuff might sound a little bit too out there, but this works. I mean, you're doing the logical stuff with Adam, with Gavin, and with Desmond. I'm here mostly on the mind side. We're going to do a market roundup at the end. This is mind and markets. But you know what? Right now, I do think that this stuff really matters. I can feel that you guys are on the same wavelength. So I'm trying to kind of drive this home. The most important trade, let's not forget the whole theme of what we kicked off with today. The most important trade is not the trade itself. It's the trade that you make inside of your head. So my exercise to you that I've already given you to do right now live, and I'm going to encourage you to do this on a daily basis, not weekly, daily basis. If you guys are serious, daily, you got to do the I am exercise. Who are you? Every single day, pulse check with yourself. I am. Next day, I am. Day 3, I am. Who is that person in the mirror on that day, every day? And you're going to get different answers. You do this every day, you're going to get different answers. Some days you're going to get nice answers. Some days you're going to get ugly answers. I know, because I've tried it. I get all kinds of answers. But you know what? If you don't ask yourself the question, you're not going to pulse check. And you'll find out another way, through a losing trade, through overconfidence, because you're not holding yourself accountable, through relationship issues that feed through to your account, through work issues, through family issues, through confidence issues. It's gonna come out anyway. So if it's gonna come out anyway, why don't you be the law? why don't you let it come out? in the way that you choose it to come out, right? That's what it's all about, guys. And the best of the best traders do this. They don't specifically have to do the I am exercise, but they get the meaning. They get the benefit. Okay, so let me complete the process. Patrick, I am.
I am resilient.
Oh, love it. I was waiting for someone to hit the R word. I am resilient. Give me a big resilient high five, Patrick. Thank you. And Bobby, high five. Sorry, I forgot to give you a high five. Thank you. Joseph, high five. Anyone I've forgotten to give a high five? Callum, I gave you one, right? Okay, great. Sammy, I am.
I am extremely grateful.
Wonderful. Gratitude. Thank you for bringing it to a higher level. I'm going to ask you, because you used the G word, you're going to have to give me a G context. What are you grateful for?
Well, I am extremely grateful for a lot of things. First of all, to be alive, to experience this weird thing that we're experiencing that we call life. And I really liked the Viktor Frankl, what you brought up, man's search for meaning. One of the greatest books that I've ever read, and also the Carpe Diem, that seize the moment. Because last week you gave me the challenge for 1 week, and I said that I'm quite in a breaking point of being stressed out and not being able to handle myself. And since that day, I started out a gratefulness journal. For every single morning I wake up and I write at least 10 things that I'm grateful for, and it became so much more than what it, just gratefulness. And you gave me a week time limit to hit my target, and 3 hours ago I hit my target.
Wow. Okay, you know what, Sammy?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, finish your sentence.
No, I'm just extremely grateful for, you and everybody else here, and just the support that I've gotten, and, just being able to express. And I mean, it's something that I could never have even imagined in my life. So I'm extremely grateful for that.
Sammy, you're an amazing guy, and I'm sure a very successful trader now and yet to come. I'm going to invite everyone to give Sammy a whole lot of high five love and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Dude, spread the love, man. Come on, man. Spread that over here. Spread that.
I've done it without you guys. Definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
We're a part of a team. We're a team.
Look,
so thank
Bobby's
you guys.
all the way in the US of A, and it's like he's like right in your room, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's the power of the team is unbelievable, and it just boggles my mind how much I get from all of these things, and whatever everybody says, that it just motivates the hell out of me.
Great. And look, I want to emphasize the point that you just shared, because it's just so powerfully subtle. It's powerfully subtle. And I don't want people to overlook it, because it might seem on face value as a subtle comment, gratitude, how's that going to make a big difference? And this is a whole discussion in itself, but just to be very clear, your state matters. And if you're in a positive state, you're going to make coherent decisions. As a trader, you're going to make coherent decisions. In anything that you do, you're going to make coherent decisions, but especially with trading. The whole in the zone thing is being coherent. To be coherent, you need to be in a high state. If you're in a low state, you can still trade a few good trades. But at some point in time, more often than not, you're going to run into issues. Okay.
Definitely.
Now, the best way to raise your state is through your emotions.
Yeah.
You
And I
can
found that
optimize.
gratefulness is a wonderful thing for that. I found that gratefulness is a wonderful thing for that. I mean, you gotta be, as funny as it sounds, you gotta be grateful for everything you have in your life, whatever comes in your way.
Absolutely. Hey, there's a whole lot of, I mean, you've experienced the experience. So you're sold on the whole experience because you've experienced it. You get it, work for you, you hit target. That's all you need to know on so many different levels to know that this stuff works. But those of you who are still early days and you're kind of wondering, what's this thing that Sammy's talking about? Gratitude, how does this affect trading? Why does it matter? I've heard about it, I've read about it, but does it really work? Have a go. Sammy, do you want to challenge anyone else to do the same thing?
I mean, I guess I want to challenge the whole world,
Wow.
because it's just, I mean,
hey guys, he's left us for the world.
because like it sounds really, really like it sounds really weird how to be grateful for everything, but I mean, like, you gotta be grateful for everything because you never know when shit is gonna hit the fan, and anything might happen.
That's why we say trading is a metaphor for transformation, because it's
Exactly.
the most real-time feedback mechanism, right?
It's like looking yourself in the mirror.
Yeah. So yes, it's trading, but then obviously it's an inside-out transformation process. Hence, trading is a metaphor of transformation. But that inside-out transformation is what allows you to trade that one identity for another, because it's just a lot of work. That's why it's not for everyone. That's why it's not for everyone. I mean, just to be very clear, that's the bottom line. That's why a lot of people give up, because they're like, you know what? Oh, I'm not willing to change. This is too hard. I'm not cut out for this. I'm gonna give up.
Change is hard, and I don't, like, as funny as it sounds, I don't feel like trading is hard in itself, but becoming that person who can trade, that's the hardest part.
Sammy,
like,
I'm gonna give you a double high five, kind of like roll there. You hit the point right smack on the head of the nail there. Well done, Sammy. That takes people a long time. Usually, in my experience, in my experience working with different people, a lot of them take a long time to realize what you just shared.
Oh yeah.
It takes the time that it takes. There's no competition here, but it's an important insight, and I would really encourage you to write that down, or to just remember it. I mean, whatever works for you. But it's a very powerful point. Now, here's my, with your permission, Sammy, my follow-up challenge. You ready for this?
Yes.
Very simple.
Tell me.
COCO. Do you remember the acronym COCO?
Keep on keeping on.
That's my challenge to you, Sammy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to change anything, but just be more precise on stop losses. And yeah, that's about it.
I just got a great feedback from Callum on the chat, because I think his mic's out for the count. Callum Dronefield, I think it's Callum Dronefield, not his twin Callum, but Callum Dronefield, I believe, has said, "I will give that a try. Thank you, Sammy." So there you go. You just inspired one of the other traders in the group. What's going on, guys?
I'm super happy. And one good thing, and one thing is that it's different to write it on a computer or say it out loud, but to write it on paper and to actually think about it and see what you're writing. It's kind of like you're creating something out of yourself, and you write it on a piece of paper, and then it's there and you can read it, and it's like magic. It becomes alive.
Absolutely. And I mean, just a quick word on that. Muscle to mind. I'm a big believer in actually using the pen and paper technique, the old-fashioned way. I used to work at Bloomberg, and they looked at me thinking I was weird. You know, why am I drawing, hand drawing charts, financial market charts? And I've stopped doing it, but I used to do it because that's how I was taught to read charts, to draw them on a graph paper, literally open, high, close, Dow Jones.
Yeah,
that's what I was asked. Wait, it was a whole kind of Mr. Miyagi moment. For those of you who remember the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. It was kind of like pencil to paper. I was stuck in the library weeks on end during the summer work experience, guys. That's part of my story. Drawing price points off the Dow Jones, and I was thinking, what the exclamation am I doing?
yeah,
This makes no sense. And I realized a long time later, and I thanked my mentor back then for an amazing and inspiring Miyagi lesson, which was, you know, the wax on, wax off, but for trading, to actually get emotionally and psychologically connected to the market by ultimately trading it. But by actually putting pencil or pen to paper and hand drawing the chart, that actually accelerates your learning, in my opinion. Neurologically, there's research that actually proves this. Even when you're reading a paper book, apparently the information fast tracks into your mind in a more effective way. And more specifically, if you write a journal and you complete a gratitude journal, magical stuff happens. So look, you can do it on a computer, you can do it on your iPad, whatever works. Just, you know, doing it, showing up is what matters. But if you take it that next step.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sammy. So I've killed the time, guys, but I'm gonna just, you know, carry on. We're going with the flow, and then I'm gonna do just a brief 10-minute roundup. In a way, there's not much for me to share with you on the market side because the market's just going flat in terms of the global major markets that we look at. They're just doing more of the same. So I'll just give you a quick update and say, hey guys, same market action for now. You know my views on the market. Last week I gave a big kind of grand finale share with you. There were some questions which I do need to come back to on the market presentation, which I'll respond to. But given that I gave a very strong market share last week, I think it's good to kind of let the pendulum swing the other way and give you a little bit more of the mind share. So Brandon, last but not least, I am
gold driven.
You are. Sorry, I asked you before, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You know what happened? Somehow you rotated around my screen, so
Yeah,
I was looking clockwise.
I think my Wi-Fi went out for a little bit, so I had to leave and come back. So.
Brandon, you know what that does? It means I pick on you even more, right? The more you check out and check back in, I'm just going to ask you the same question again and again. Thank you, Brandon. Okay, has everyone done the I am statement? Anyone missing? Okay, now, how many of you want to do the I am exercise on a regular basis? Hands up. Okay, great. So I'm looking forward to the feedback, guys. I want to hear about the I am statement. And when you do it, do me a favor. Notice your state of mind. Notice your state of mind and heart. Where are you guys at? And I want you to do what Sammy did and cross-check it with your P&L. Cross-check it with your P&L. And I don't just mean your trade P&L, I mean your life P&L. I want you to cross-check your life P&L, your trading P&L, whatever the hell P&L system you've got going for anything in your life. I want you to be able to create that feedback mechanism so that you can actually have a deeper understanding of yourself. Know thyself. Know thyself. I am. Who am I? Today, tomorrow, next week, the month after. Okay? Now, that's our session today. Just literally fell into my lap. You know, I didn't plan this at all. It just happened. What can I say? I thought I had a plan, but the plan just went out the window. I'll just have to reset it for next week.
Put it out the ether.
What was that, Callum?
You pull it out the ether.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. It goes back to what Sammy said about magic. Next time I'll bring my hat and my wand and see if that does anything. But yeah, let's flip to markets in a moment. But before we do, Patrick, I do want to come back to you. And Sammy, you've just shared your insights, which is great, beautiful. I'm glad that you proactively came to me. I didn't want to be the policeman to say, Sammy, what about that assignment that we did? You did it yourself. And actually, Patrick did the same thing last week. You were late by 1 week, and that's perfectly fine. But Patrick, if I recall, you realized that you were in that kind of bounce back phase, and you decided to bounce back, which is great. I celebrate and respect that. And Patrick, please, could you give a summary, key insights from what you wrote on Slack chat last week, literally the moment after we clicked off. We went offline, Patrick went offline, which I love. Patrick, what were your key insights from what you wrote on Slack last week?
I think, in retrospective, it's more how external factors or external circumstances can affect you internally, right? Because I think this is also what we spoke today in terms of having accountability, because and something I even said to other traders is that no one has ever lost money due to having an emotion, right? We lose money because of how we react to that emotion. So basically, how we react to those external circumstances is really what defines what we can do for our trading, right? I mean, in my specific scenario, it was kind of external pressure, because I've already been trading with my own account, and even my current account is a little bit it's way bigger than the one that I'm currently trading on crypto with Alpha Chain. So I know that it was more a problem of how I adapted that external pressure and how I visualize it on my own, rather than the facts on themselves. So I think it's kind of like a mental check more than anything. Like, you don't need to let external circumstances dictate how you feel internally. You can really take acknowledgement of what you have to do. And in terms of mistakes that I did, I realized that sometimes when the worst mistakes happen when you don't expect something, right? So I think that's very important in trading, because even in trading in the zone, one of the main things is that the market can do anything. The market can can surprise you, and I think it's very important to be able to have kind of like a plan even when you don't expect something, because that's really what happened to me. Something that unexpected that my stop loss didn't trigger just kind of had this snowball effect that other mistakes went out of there. So I think I've learned a lot in that regard, in terms of the reptilian brain, how you stop thinking when things really start getting bad. And I think it's very important to have something automated for those scenarios where you say, hey, this happened, I was not expecting, let's shut everything off, let's have a cool down, let's wait for the day after, and then reboot the system. Because if you kind of force it and say, hey, I need to bring it back just in the moment, you're not gonna be able to do that. I think it's kind of like you need to think long term and have a really good plan instead of trying to come up with something due to a mistake. I think it's better to just have the hit of that mistake, realize it was a mistake, and then trying to get back.
Great insight, Patrick. And the big takeaway I've got from what you said is this whole idea of planning. And if I can add another word to planning, scenario planning, which is kind of same. It has the same meaning, but scenario planning is a big area. If you're keen on this, Dr. Tharp is one of the people who actually teaches his super traders all about scenario planning. They write a list. I've met with super traders, i.e. those that train for 3 years and do a lot of deep dive psychology work with Dr. Tharp. They have a folder roughly this thick, which is a business plan of their trading kind of work. And one chapter in that folder, which is yay big, yay wide, is purely scenario planning. They write meticulous lists of anything and everything that can go right, that can go wrong. Your computer going crashing, your broker account logging you out, something happening in terms of your finances, trade environments changing, something happening psychologically. They write a laundry list of everything. Now, most people would look at me and say, why the hell would you do that? Because you get like manically depressed, you start projecting negative stuff. But actually, this is an empowering exercise. It's not just half glass empty, or everything is bad and I'm gonna do worst case scenario analysis. No, it's scenario planning. You're actually preparing yourself for the most probable, or in some cases improbable, scenarios so that you can be prepared. And there's an old Eastern phrase, he who is prepared has won half the battle. He who is prepared has won half the battle before you even start the battle. You've won half the battle, right? And that's because this brain is switched on. You know how to respond. And it goes back in a way to Viktor Frankl's point about stimuli and response. Although he didn't mean it that way, if you've conditioned your mind to respond to the stimuli, then you've won half the battle. Do you get me on that, Sammy? It's a reframe of what Viktor Franklin actually said, but it's a useful one if you think about it. If you condition the mind to be resilient, which is what Patrick chose as an I am statement, then your mind is able to deal with the stress in automatic mode. It's no longer, did you hear that session that Ron gave on this or that? It just becomes an automatic function, right? Going back to Bobby's kind of high-tech download idea, it's kind of on the same thing, but instead of the high-tech, it's us upgrading from the inside out. It's us upgrading from the inside out. And the way that you do that is by uploading a new program that is more empowering for you as a trader, right? And that's the I am statement, by the way. The I am statement is a computer program. So you need to know what current computer program you're running as a trader to know, where you are in order to know where you need to be. And then you need to basically develop a new software program, upload it in here, trade your identity for another one, which is going to get you what you want. And then you start hitting target and surpassing target, as Sammy just shared with us. And as Patrick shared with us in terms of your bounce back story. How many people are kind of getting what I'm saying? This is a real aha moment. The pin is dropped. The penny is dropped. The dollar note has dropped. Whatever the hell you've got at home that drops, it's dropped. Great. Everyone's got a okay. Callum's kind of like raising his hands up. Okay. Callum's about to jump up and down. Great. I like that. Energy raiser. Okay. Now I'm gonna flip the switch and go on to a little bit of market share. We're into overtime, but I'm just gonna again ask you just permission, just extend literally I think maybe 5 minutes, no longer. And I'm gonna, well, before I do, I want each of you to, especially this session more than any other session, because I think there have been some multiple powerful moments in this session. I can feel it. I can see that you guys are feeling it. I can sense that you guys are feeling it. So I really urge you all to reflect, make time to reflect after this session, 5, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, take a break maybe if you can, or later on today, if that's better, and kind of ask yourself what's the key insight from this session for you. And again, going on what Sammy and I have been saying about pen to paper, write it down. And I would do more than that. I would write it down and I would stick it on the wall. put it in a journal, stick it on the wall. There you go. Sammy's got like a whole graffiti thing going on behind him. Through the power of osmosis, we will get to you somehow, some way. Coming to a movie screen near you. The Trading Transformation Challenge. So please take time after the session, reflect. If Adam and Gavin say, "What are you guys doing?" Saying you're taking some reflection time. you wanna note down your insights because you've just had a powerful session on this mind and market workshop, and you want to take it to the next level. I've gone offline, you've gone online. And Bobby, don't worry, I'll get back online and respond to to the question that you gave and various others. But I'm just saying, as a matter of principle, when I switch off this webinar, I want you guys to switch on your hearts and minds and to really just dig deep, because that's where the work happens. I'm here as a facilitator of your change and transformation in trading. I facilitate change and transformation, but you guys realize it. You guys realize it. Everyone clear on that? That's the trade, guys. That's my trade to you. And if you wish, your trade to me is to realize it. Right? I mean, metaphorically, everything's a trade. But what type of trade and how you take that trade is up to you. Okay, so on that note, I don't want to labor the point. So I've given you the challenge, the I am statement challenge as often and as powerfully as you can. Please, I don't want anyone standing in the mirror, in a real kind of like disempowered, I don't care about what I'm doing kind of fashion, doing I am statements. You need to put the I am face on. Right? You need to give it some. You need to step up. You need to go into Callum's kind of Netflix and start tuning into those Hollywood movies and become that Superman, archetype. You need to really wear the I am clothes. Yeah. Put that suit on. Yeah. And then please add, your insight on Slack when you can, but most importantly, do it yourself, because your guys deserve the best, and you deserve to be the best traders possible. It's all possible. It's all about the trade. Okay, now I'm gonna share screen in a moment. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Okay, great. So quick rundown. It's, I'm going to manage your expectations. Same. There isn't much price action. If anything, we're setting up for the big risk-off move in my mind, based upon what we discussed last week. And if I just move this out the way, I'm going to go through the rundown. Remember, it's global, so major market rundown. We're going to look at the equity markets, currencies, and commodities. Equities, I begin with US, and we look at the divergences in US. That's Tech Street, Wall Street, Main Street. Everyone should remember this from last week, and it is the usual terminology that I use. So Tech Street, NASDAQ, you can see here, it is now, we had a little bit of a bounce, failed to break above the last high. It's really important whenever you see a price failure, because that's very meaningful information. And you can see the price failure on the NASDAQ below 15,560. And now we're about to make a new low breakout. New low breakout. Write that down. New terminology you need to be knowing as traders. The moment the NASDAQ makes a new low breakout below 10,930, the market's going to move and shake. So anyone looking for potential short positions, for educational purposes, I've just given you a price trigger. It's no big secret, but I'm just reinforcing it to you. Now, if the NASDAQ, the most overcrowded market in the world, is about to make a new low breakout, you better believe that the rest of the market is going to follow suit. The rising tide lifts all boats, but it also crushes them on the way down. The rising tide lifts all boats, but it also crushes them on the way down. So if the NASDAQ's rising tide flips from up to down, take cover. And if you want to make money, go short. That simple. Obviously, take care because the volatility is likely to be high. We are in the season of volatility. September, October, and definitely November. Those of you in the US know very well about the US election. Option market premium is at a record high. Why? Because everyone is trying to trade the US election volatility. It is no big secret. Everyone knows the market's going to be very volatile into November and during November. S&P 500, same, and this is one of the markets that's going to get hit hard if the NASDAQ actually does roll over, as part of the Minsky moment that I shared with you and the world, you last week, and the world on CNBC and various other media channels. And if you look at this chart, the new low breakout is 33.10, but actually you need to go back in time and look at the pandemic gap on the S&P 500, which is exactly where we are now, 33.40, and the lower boundary is 32.70. Write these levels down, guys. I've just given you 1000% psychology transformation work, and now I need to make sure that I do the best I can in the last few minutes on the market side. So write down the number for those of you who want to look at the S&P 500, 32.70, key trigger level on the S&P 500, and that also, by the way, 32.70, but also ultimately 3,000. 3,000 ultimately is a big figure on the S&P 500. Will confirm that Minsky pattern, Minsky moment, broadening pattern that I showed you last week. If you didn't watch it last week, just replay the video, and it's all there, or just watch my TV Market Insights, and it's you'll get a fast track of it. Russell 2000, this is Main Street. This is where some of the zombie companies exist, guys. That has barely, this has failed to break above its June peak, which is the real price action across the world. European markets the same, UK market definitely the same, if not worse. So you can see here, Russell 2000 failed to break above the June peak, and it's actually 7% below its record peak. So it's still sideways and actually still trading below its June peak. When I say June peak, you need to know what that June peak is. On Russell 2000, the June peak is at around 1540. That's the June peak. The June peak is relevant. If you want to see risk appetite unwind, look at the June peak areas across all markets, equity markets, but even the currency world. I'll show it to you on Eurodollar. The DAX. We've left the US, we're now traveling to Germany on this kind of whirlwind trip. And we can see here the DAX is in this compression pattern. And if I actually draw the upper boundary of this compression pattern, you can see what it looks like, a wedge-like pattern. I'm not going to get stuck into the technical pattern jargon. I just want you to know that anything that looks like it's compressing is going to create a coiling effect in terms of volatility. Volatility narrows, and then it does what? Anyone? Low volatility leads to what?
Breakouts.
Breakouts. So you've got a breakout pattern on the DAX. It's literally in the final part of the apex. In fact, by the way, in a lot of the work I've done with traders over the years, I've often renamed, reframed triangle patterns, and I've called them breakout patterns. I just call it what it is. It's a breakout pattern. the implication of the triangle is something's going to break out, either up or down. And in this case, the probabilities are down. Now, on the DAX, remember that it's not, the make or break area for this breakout pattern is, for it to break higher, it really needs to get over this pandemic gap, which the German market has failed to push above year to date. So 13,290 and 13,570 is your overhead resistance. If the German market cannot break above that overhead resistance zone, wave goodbye to the German market. It will likely roll over. The asymmetric risk is still very strong, i.e. the risk to the downside is stronger to the upside, and we could very easily have some big moves down. Carry on watching. Also keep in mind you've got like basic measures like the 200-day moving average, which is at 12,180. That will continue to be important across all markets. UK market, guess what, guys? Our home market, you would have made more money if you sold it than if you bought it this year. Sorry, guys, but that's the truth of the UK market. We seem to be so consumed by the pandemic kind of mismanagement, and now Brexit, as if we needed more uncertainty. We've got the pandemic and Brexit all in 1 year. Hey, at some point in time, even the UK market will bounce back. But right now, it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. And the reality is the UK market is negative year to date. And if you sold it, you would have made money, not if you bought it. And right now, it's one of the weakest markets. If you look at the global markets, according to my trend ranking system, the UK is bottom of the list. So it is what it is. And you can consider a short position on the FTSE unless it were to kind of break higher. Even if you don't trade this market, it's worth looking at from a sentiment point of view, just to look at the rest of the world as a measure of, stock market growth, but also economic growth, and make the clear point that the US survey, as important as it is not a representation of the rest of the world. And even within the USA, there's a divergence between tech, street, Wall Street, and Main Street, and that is the issue. It's also an issue why we have an even widening wealth gap between rich and poor, and that is what is leading to the social tension that is on the rise in the US and in other parts of the world. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going out, and I always tell people, look at your chart, but also look outside the window. Look at your chart, but look outside your window. You have protests and violent rioting going on in your home country. That's not good for the market. That's not good for the market, even if the market's making all-time highs. So recognize the dislocation between the market and the economy, and the market, the economy, and the people on the ground. This stuff matters, guys. Okay, and then if we look at the currency world, dollar index is just going sideways, not doing much. But once the dollar breaks out of this sideways trading range between 94 and 92, we're going to get some big moves at some point. Remember, the dollar is year to date negative, down 10%. So all we need to do is just to break lower, and that 10% extends. And remember that the dollar index is still within this multi-year top formation. So ultimately, at some point, this will get reactivated. And the old phrase I taught you all: the bigger the top, the lower the drop. Say it to you again: the bigger the top, the lower the drop. Euro dollar is the mirror image of dollar index, and that continues to go sideways, trading underneath this really important level at 119.15. Nothing has really changed there. And what euro dollar has done is it looks like it's been breaking down lower, and it's now testing its 50-day moving average, an average it has not broken since May. Euro dollar has not broken the 50-day average since May. It also has not triggered a bearish signal based upon the shorter term averages, which I use, the 8 and the 20 exponential moving average. And right here, right now, euro dollar is about to produce a bearish reversal signal on the 8 and 20 average. Thumbs up if you're loud and clear on that point. If you get a bearish confirmation on euro dollar based upon my short-term averages, this would be an intraday and short-term multi-day and maybe multi-week a reversal counter trend trade. Unless euro dollar breaks to the upside, this looks like it's rolling over. And guess what? Cable's doing the same. Actually, cable's actually leading in terms of currency weakness against the dollar, and has already broken down. It's given the bearish signal a week ago, 9th of September, and it's broken below its 200 moving average, and we're just looking like we're going to resume back lower. The key level on cable is 127.15. If we break that, again, we're just going to go even lower. I would say the 50% level on cable is the most important thing, and that's 123, and that's the 50% pivot point of the pandemic crash that we had in March. The midpoint of any big volatility signature in the market is a very important magnetic level that the market often returns to at some point in time. Cable is a great example of that. Thumbs up if you're with me on the pivot point on cable and the reversion back to mean, that mean being 123 on cable, and cable weakening versus euro against the dollar. So we're starting to see this unravel. Dollar yen is also starting to move. That's the only thing I'm going to talk about in terms of currency. It's been going sideways for a long time, but now we're resuming down lower. We're about to break below the previous low, new low breakout, 104.10, and then ultimately we could easily extend lower to the crash low of 101.16. So potential trade on dollar yen if you're not already trading that. Remember, it's a 4.5-year support level on dollar yen. Please do not be ignoring the big picture patterns, because when it's a big picture pattern, it's going to produce big picture moves. And big picture moves is big money that you can make, so long as you're managing the risk in a smart way. So dollar yen, I know, has been boring for many of you, but it looks like it's about to move in a big way now and in the next few weeks. Finally, gold and silver, and then I'll stop on the market roundup. Yeah, so gold is just going sideways. We need to break out of this range as soon as possible. The range on my analysis is between 2019, I believe 1920 or thereabouts. But let's just say 1865 and 2070. The market has to break above the record high or above the previous swing low for it to do anything meaningful. And right now, I'm still betting on the upside for a move, not just above 2070, which was my original target, which is why the green line is there, but actually a risk move to 2400 with a spike extension into 3000. I do believe that gold will likely hit 2400, and then after that, potential into 3000 psychological level. Silver, which is the ugly sister of gold, is also sideways, and if whichever one moves first will give a lead signal on the precious metal run. Oil, very last point I'm going to say on oil, that is finally rolling over after several months of just going sideways and not doing much, and we're going to see exactly what that means. Look at the geopolitical and oil-specific headlines, because it is starting to affect the market as well. I'm going to stop there. I've given you an extra 30-minute bonus. I do that from time to time, especially when we're getting a lot of supercharged change and transformation taking place in the session. So this is my bonus gift to you. I hope that you can take it, run with it, and have an amazing end of the week and new week before our next session next Thursday. I'm going to stop there, go back to screen, give you all a big high five kind of roll, drum roll. And remember your I am statements. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you all to do before we cut off and I go offline and you go online. Can we all in one go switch on our mics and say our I am statements together, one big crescendo? I am.
Hello.
Yeah!
Hey.
Whoa! Yeah!
Brandon, did you get your IAM statement in there?
Yeah, it was muttered against it.
I don't want you missing out, Brandon. Okay, cool. Great. Have a great session, guys. You brought like amazing energy to this session. I love it. Really made my day. I hope your day is completely transformed. Trade as successfully in life as you do in markets.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.